Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Hope you're having a beautiful, blessed morning on this day. I feel so much better. Y'all, I literally slept all day yesterday. When I say after I got off my live yesterday, if I missed anything with anybody's live, I am so sorry. I literally slept all day yesterday. I was so just exhausted and with being sick and everything. And I took a nap during the daytime. So if you know anything about me with my ADHD, I don't never get to do that. Chad, I was just exhausted. I feel a lot better today. Hopefully it continues to go that way. Good morning, Shaker, my beautiful room shaker. James, Javius, pretty chocolate girl, my rose garden. I never promised you a rose garden. I beg your pardon. How y'all doing on this lovely morning? I just woke up not long ago. I popped over there to Lemons. Kind of had a little slight conversation with one of the new dudes. Um, and whatnot. Um, you know, was over there chilling. Vic was up there doing his thing. They was rapping, and I don't know why, but all of a sudden I was half asleep early in the morning, and for some reason the song "Bald Head, Scallywag, and Gown, Hair and Back, Weaved Up, Jacked Up, though your head is messed up." I don't know why that song was running through my head this morning. Do not ask me. I do not know. For some reason, random songs randomly pop into my head at random parts of the day. So it's like I have a jukebox playing in my head all the time. Yeah, I crashed out yesterday, Javius. I crashed out. Um, I was exhausted yesterday, and I didn't catch none of the drama that went on. I admit it. I didn't see none of it, so I'm gonna have to go back today and watch it. We'll see what happens over the weekend, cause y'all know the weekend is when all the mess go down. But y'all know Saturdays are my husband's days. I only make very few exceptions to step on the foot of those days, right? Because my husband means everything to me, man. He's a good man. He's good to me. He treats me right. You know what I'm saying? And I love the ground he walks on. Um, I was so lucky to find him. I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody talking about Krista being celibate for whatever she wants. Yeah, I was celibate for over 10 years by choice, by my own choice. I could have been out there, just letting my freak flag fly and throwing the whole card around and doing all that stuff. Um, that's true. Team neurodivergent, we are special. They not like us. I'm gonna start doing the Kendrick Lamar song. They not like us. But yeah, so we you know, we I'm just I feel so lucky. Um you had the Kesha song "Your Love Is My Drug" stuck in your head all morning. I swear to God, some reason certain songs um we met each other over 10 years ago when we were friends, just friends. And we've been together now for 5 years. Uh, and sometimes we even forget our own anniversary together. We forget how long we've been here because it feels like we've been together our entire lives. It feels like we've been together for our entirety of our lives, even though we haven't. It is so it's such a breath of fresh air to have a relationship that you know you don't have to fight. You don't do all these things. Like, you don't have drama and you don't have craziness. Not saying that's not gonna happen or hasn't. It's just refreshing to have it to where you're just with your best friend all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's very refreshing to have that kind of thing. Um, it is. And knowing that if we have a problem, we can communicate. Like, we know how to talk to each other. Like, we could just be chilling in a room together watching TV and just be happy. You know what I'm saying? And I know the next 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to be the exact same way. Right. And I know that, I love him dearly. And then, Sunday, I always do my geek day. A lot of people don't know this, but I play D&D on Sundays. I've been saying it for a while, but some people don't pay attention. Um, so I play D&D with a group of friends that I've been friends with now for at least, I think it's 4 years now going on that I've been playing D&D with them. I've literally watched one of the boys that's in our group. because I don't know if y'all know this, but D&D is mostly male dominated. Um, and I have an amazing DM. I if he sees this stream, I don't know if he would be over here, but I have an amazing DM who is very friendly for females because I don't know if y'all know this if you ever play in D&D, but sometimes some DMs are not female friendly, if that makes sense. Sometimes they try to over sexualize females and stuff like that. Oh, I would love to do that, Javius. Maybe we could schedule that for next week if you're cool with that on Wellness Wednesday next week. I would love to have a discussion with my different people who are neurodivergent, in different ways. Like, I would love to have all the people who are neurodivergent up on here and speak your piece on what you go through and how, um, your neurodivergence does to you. Good morning, Miss Coffee. I love, yes, and Dungeons and Dragons, for those who are non-geeks, that's what D&D is. It's basically a role-playing simulation thing to where you create a character, right? And you speak on said character. Like you play as if you are that character, right? Um, and we also, we have different DMs within our group. It's amazing. I've watched one of the boys grow up pretty much. He was in high school when we first started, and now he's in college. So it's so cool to watch him grow up. It's cool to watch, some of our other members who are like in college now going into the workforce and doing things. And it's just we have some really amazing people in our D&D group, and I really appreciate them, and I'm very thankful that to be a part of their group. And they're so inquisitive, and some of the things they think of are so smart. um, I do love my D&D group. And then after our D&D group, sometimes I'll spend time with my husband, watch movies. Other times I'll play my video games. It almost is, Miss Coffee, like The Sims. Okay, so you create a character, right? You have a character sheet. You create a character and you role play as if you're that character. Now you have battles within D&D where you have to, use your character to fight other things. You role play with the other characters, right? And it's almost like The Sims in a way. And your DM is the one that's responsible for making up your scenes and what you're going to be doing that day. I'm a light cleric in one of our campaigns. I like being a cleric because saving people, helping the group out is my thing. But D&D is actually very fun, and I love it. It takes me away into a different space, but it's really fun. Um, and so I do love doing that on Sundays, and then sometimes on Sundays I'll play my video games. Sometimes me and my husband will play Minecraft, and there's this server within Minecraft, I don't know if y'all know this, where you can play hide and go seek as a block, and it's so much fun. Like, you get to choose what your block's going to be, and you go hide, and the other people got to find you, the seekers has got to find you, right? So much fun. um and there's different little games in that server that's really cool. But I am a gamer at heart. If a lot of people don't know that, I've been gaming since I grew up with video games. So for me, from the time, when um from the time I was little, I had a regular Nintendo, then you had the Super Nintendo, then you had the Nintendo 64, and then eventually we got PlayStation, PlayStation 1, GameCube, Xbox, the original OG Xbox, and so on and so forth. So I've watched video games go from, Gallagher and Miss Pac Man from the original arcade games and days all the way up till now. So I've watched being, I have to admit, I'm a millennial because of me being born in 87. Um, but watching the inception of all technology. Like, I remember back in the day when remember when we first, like, you had to run games on MS DOS on computers, and like the Oregon Trail was like the first video game was on a huge floppy disk, and that was before they got the little ones, and then the CD DVD ROMs came in place. But I remember when we used to have to play. Yeah, the Atari. I used my mom. Let me tell you this. Oh, and one of the ones that people always forget. I was just thinking of it when you said that, Miss Coffee. My mom was huge into Pac-Man. Everybody thinks PlayStation was the very first video game with CDs. No, it was not. Technically, it was the damn, what was the name of that system? I had it. The Dreamcast, the Sega Dreamcast. The Sega Dreamcast was the very first video game with CDs. Then came PlayStation. So Sega Dreamcast was above their time, to tell you the truth. Remember they had the little blue back CDs? Because my mama, we got one, and my mama took that thing over because she loves Miss Pac-Man, and she can play it from start to finish. And I'm gonna tell you something, she took it from us as kids. I grew up, I have, I have. Let's see, one, two. I have to count right quick, y'all. Two, three sisters, two brothers, and no telling how many others. But I grew up with a sister and a brother, right? The other ones are from outside sources. Um, but one, my brother was special needs his entire life. I've told y'all about him, my angel. Um, Me and my sister, though, we're 5 years apart. So it was as if I was an only child, even though I had siblings because I was the youngest. Because by the time I got a specific age, all of them are out of the house or gone or living somewhere else. So for years, I was there by myself. And so video games and books became my thing. Even when I was in elementary school, I was reading on a college level. Um, I didn't. I read the children's version of a lot of books, but mostly like I was reading the original Moby Dick, and I don't know if y'all know the difference between the child version and the original. Same thing with the Ugly Duckling and all that other stuff, but it's a lot bigger and different than you think. Hey, I've heard the Switch. Okay, also I forgot about the Nintendo Switch nowadays. Uh, People love the Nintendo Switch, especially retro gamers and people who love the old school stuff. Because Nintendo Switch has a lot of the old school Nintendo games that people were used to, and they have new stuff also, but a lot of people do love the Switch. And hey, free is free. I am going to go over some true crime stuff today, where I didn't get to do that yesterday. Yesterday was supposed to be True Crime Thursday. It didn't happen because there was some stuff we had to talk about. Oh, I love Zelda. Now, back in the day, I have a friend who actually named his child Link from Zelda. I actually do. I have a best friend or was a best friend. We ain't talked in quite a few years now, but I'm pretty sure if we picked up the phone, we could talk like it's nothing. It's been a few years since I've seen him, but he named his child Link after Zelda because he loves Zelda so much. But that's the era that I grew up in. James said he likes his open world RPGs and racing games. That's the era that I grew up in. Sometimes the era that you grow up in does shape and form you as a person. So for me, I watched technology from the inception until now, right? I've watched it grow from nothing to something. I remember back when the first satellites that they had for TVs, they had those huge ones, those huge satellites. And then I remember when back in the day now, I got to tell you this. Back in the day, you used to jank somebody else's cable. I don't know if y'all know that, but back in the day, if you knew where up on the pole, they put it on the light poles and stuff, right? If you knew where the original box was, all you had to do was put in a T, a splitter, and you could jank the cable and run it to your house. Do you know how many people I know that used to do that in the hood? There used to be one or two people on a block that actually paid for the cable, and everybody else was watching it for free. They used to do the same thing with the telephones. They had a splitter that you could use and get free landlines. That was some stuff back in the day. They can't get me now. They couldn't get me then. I didn't do it. I was underage. But they can't get nobody now for it. Statute of limitations, y'all. Statute of limitations. Now I played the Forest. I'm gonna tell you something, Javius. If you're gonna play the Forest, go into the settings and make it to where you can just free build. without the enemies and stuff. You can turn that on to where you can free build. I played Stranded Deep. I play a lot of games. Like I'm one of those people. Right now I'm playing um, Cyberpunk 2077. Good morning, Miss Liz. But but back in the day, we used to jank the cable. We used to jank the phone lines. We was bad back in the day, way back in the day, like long time ago. We was bad. I'm just telling you, we used to do that in the hood. Um, there was always that one or two people that actually paid for it, and everybody else was janking off their stuff. hmm But we used to do that back then. I don't know if y'all ever did that. I I don't know if y'all remember, but back in the day when DirecTV had those little cards that you insert in the boxes, back in the day we used to have people that would fix them up where they would unlock everything, like even the pay-per-views, right? And I had a cousin who would do it. So we got ours for free, right? And then they would end up like if you never act like you order anything or they'd scramble your card. And there was one of them we had for over a year, y'all. But they used to zap the cards and you'd have to go have it redone. But I we knew a dude that did that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Way back. Um way back in the day. This was shoot, I was a teenager and I'm in my 30s now, so it's statute of limitations, they can't get me. I can tell them myself now. I can snitch. Because it's one of those things that does have a statute of limitations. You used to pay like $75 or something like that. Some people did to get that. Yeah, back in the day, the cable workers would. If you slid them a little something, something, they would connect you for free. I swear to God, you could be like, here a 50 spot, here 100, and they you know. But nowadays, you can't do all that. But back in the day, man, I remember when people was telling me about the fire sticks being open and people knew how to, go in and do that. I ain't never got one of those or tried one of those in my life, but way back in the day, that's what we used to do with DirecTV and Dish Network and all that other stuff. They used to be able to jank the cards, and that's why they got rid of the cards. That's why they got rid of them, y'all. All you had to do was keep your card and go to this one person, and they knew how to do it. Yeah. So yeah, people be stealing. Yeah, Miss Coffee, you said people steal Jack and crack. Yeah, you remember back in the day we used to do all that stuff. You used to do that stuff way back in the day and get free stuff. But yeah. Oh, now there was some ladies that did that got to get the free cable. Now they get free rent too. I knew some of them. We all knew them. Everybody knew them. Everybody knew the ladies that did what they had to do to live. Everybody on the block knew who they was too. But today I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with our content. I hope everybody. Oh, I forgot to do my one thing. This is your Med Check Monday reminder. Take your medication so you don't forget like I do with my ADHD. Take your medication then. LimeWire was it too. Yeah, we used to jank music too. And then you had that one friend who knew how to burn the CDs. Hey, real Mama Fifi. Um, and you would get all the new music, and then we would make, you'd have all your favorite songs on one CD. You'd have that one friend that could burn all the music on a CD, right? And like I was friends with that person, so I didn't get charged for my CDs like other people did. But you, we used to get the free music. That's how we got the free music back in the day, and the free CDs. Um, we used to jank music. I remember Napster too. And it was Napster, then LimeWire, and then But back in the day, man, that one person would buy the CD, and then they'd let somebody copy it on their computer, and then they would burn CDs for everybody else. So only one person really bought the CD, and everybody else was getting it for free. I remember when you used to have to watch what the other TV was watching if you used a splitter. I remember that, Javius. I remember that. Man, we had cable in every room of our house too. We sure did. My daddy knew how to use those. There was these three prong things that he did, and so it was as if every room in the house had cable, and we didn't have to share. Now on the on the telephone thing back in the day, what you'd have to do is pick up and see if anybody was talking, and or if you knew the other person was at work, you could use the phone freely. But you had a system, right? And this was the system back in the day. If you were janking telephone from somebody else, ring in two times and hang up, and then I know it's you. And then you'd have another person, you ring three times, hang up, then I know it's you. And it was a whole system. Or I'll call you, don't call me. If back in the day, if you ever heard that, if somebody ever told you back in the day, I'll call you, don't call me, they were janking their telephone. I'm telling you now, back in the day, they was janking their telephone. I remember back in the day when we used to send each other videos, multimedia messages, and ringtones so we could get the free ringtones on our cell phones and used to Bluetooth it to each other. Mm-hmm. Send it like you would have that one person that would get like that had free messaging and stuff, and so multimedia messaging, so they'd get all the new ringtones, right? And then everybody would Bluetooth it to each other, so we would have you know what I'm saying? That way we would have it. You're welcome, real mama Fifi. Take your crazy pills, girl. Take your blood pressure, take the pressure, the sugar medicine. You know what I'm saying? Because down here, down south, I don't know about y'all, but down here they still call it the sugar and they call it the pressure. Oh Lord, you got the pressure and the sugar. I'm gonna pray for you. You know, that's what we say down here. We call it the sugar and the pressure. But yeah, that's what we call it, y'all. That's what we call it. I have to do the med check reminder because some of us be forgetting to take our medications, y'all. We be forgetting. So far, I like Restream. Also, I said I was gonna tell y'all how much it costs. Um, I took a screenshot, so I had to go. I had to go to my screenshots, y'all, right quick. Let me go into my pictures. Okay, let's go to screenshots. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Come on now, scroll all the way to the bottom. Thank you. Okay, so with Restream, right? I took a picture of how much it costs to use it. With Restream, if you don't do the yearly, you get 2 months for free if you do the yearly. So it would be 19 a month or 49 a month if you get professional versus standard, right? Um, but for the regular plan, if you don't do the yearly and you only do it per month, monthly is $19 a month, and you get no restream watermark, multi three stream channels, unlimited recordings, personal logos and graphics, and upload and stream basics. For professional, for $49 a month, you get standard features plus. Starts with two streaming seats, multi stream five channels, pre recorded streaming, 10 videos, 1 hour to 2 gigabytes, record streams up to 10 hours, full HD, um, in studio and video looping. So right now I'm trying it for free, but that's the prices. Let me see here. Um, that was from yesterday. Let's see. I thought I had took a screenshot of the Emovax thing to see how much it cost, but I don't know if I actually saved that. Um, I thought I might have. Oh, also, if y'all ain't been over there to the Mo 3 sector recently, supposedly Queen 88 got petition for her child support for him to have to for Brandon, the captain, to have to pay, and so he has a warrant out right now for that. He got to pay her money or go to jail. He could spend up to 6 months in jail. And he said in the chat, "You want to tell them we caught something together in 2020? Should I tell them what we caught in 2020? You know I don't care about the truth. You know I got the old messages when you text me and showed me." So I don't know. I guess he's trying to say that Queen was in, the gate for that. But for Umavax, I thought I had taken a screenshot of how much that one would cost per month. I guess I did not. Um, I guess I did not, y'all. But child over there on the Mode 3 sector, there's some stuff going on with Queen 88 and her baby daddy Brandon, the captain. Uh-oh, you're gonna get your Addy on deck. I'm about to do some work. Oh, your friend Javius used to make the ringtones and sell packages. That's really cool. Hey Ray, good morning. Yeah, them rich YouTube professionals be able to afford all them things. I'm trying to hook y'all up and let y'all know how to do it, the old school way to where you could get it for free. So what I'm trying to do is see if I can use this restream until my StreamYard, comes up free for my amount of hours for StreamYard. And I'm gonna see how much we can get for free, free, free. Right? For us free folk, I'm gonna see how it works. So, StreamYard, even for the standard package, is $44. The pro package is like 100 and something dollars or $99 or something like that. It's expensive. So we're gonna go over these cases that I didn't go over yesterday. We're gonna go ahead and get into it, y'all, because these are the new cases we're gonna be covering for the true crime section. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up there. All right. So I'm gonna go over here to what I this one right here is from the murder trial for McKinley Lusama. I think that's how you say it, Lusama, charged in the death of the Cedar Rapids woman. Now this is the Louisiana versus we're gonna look at his first, and then we're gonna look at Georgia versus Jose Ibarra, and then we have Brian Koberg charged in the slayings of four Idaho college students. So this is the first one that we're going to look at. I'm going to read it. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The trial for McKinley Lewisma. Oh, it's Iowa, y'all. I thought that was Louisiana yesterday. I don't know why. It's Iowa, y'all. Um, in Lynn County, where he faces first degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy charges in the death of Melody Hoffman, 20. Prosecutors laid out a harrowing timeline of Hoffman's last hours, while the defense maintained the state's evidence as circumstantial and fails to establish Louis Ma's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Hoffman, a Cedar Rapids resident, was last seen on February 17th with Louis Ma and an alleged accomplice, Dakota Van Patten. According to law enforcement, surveillance footage shows the two men at a Walmart in southwest Cedar Rapids just hours before Hoffman's disappearance. They bought machetes and gloves. Prosecutors allege that Hoffman was taken to Morgan Creek Park, assaulted, and then transported to Lily Lake in Amana, where her body was ultimately discovered. The jury fell silent as the prosecutors played the 911 call from Amy Robas, who discovered Hoffman's body on February the 18th. In the call, Rabas, Rabas, I think that's how you say it, is heard describing the scene she found by Lily Lake. There's a dead body here. She's just wearing underwear, she said. Is she breathing? The 911 dispatcher asked. Does not look like it, Rabas said. There are all kinds of marks on her back, like slashes. Rabas, who often visited Lily Lake to sit in her car and listen to audiobooks, recounted in court the moment she saw Hoffman's lifeless body by the store. She said a couple walking nearby approached her car asking for help after they noticed something unusual by the lake. When she got out to look, she realized they were staring at a body. She had the most beautiful, pale, perfect skin and glorious curls. She was not moving in any way, shape, or form. Her hands were curled in a way that they shouldn't have. Rabas said on the witness stand, Deputy Mark Tidet, who responded to the scene, described finding Hoffman's body lying near the lake. He told the court that she appeared to have suffered extensive injuries. She was lying face down on the ground. Her head was to the east, her feet were to the west. She had lacerations across her back and some stab wounds. Tretta explained that the lack of blood at the scene suggested to him that Hoffman's death may have occurred elsewhere. There was very little blood. To me, it was almost as if there was not where the scene occurred. There was no blood pooled anywhere on the ground. During his opening statements, Lynn County Attorney and Prosecutor Nick Maybanks described Hoffman's death as a brutal and premeditated act. Maybanks told jurors they would see evidence showing how Hoffman was allegedly kidnapped, assaulted, and eventually murdered by Louisma and Van Patten. He described Hoffman's last hours as a sinister plan that resulted in an unspeakable trauma. The evidence in the case will show that the defendant's actions were depraved, dehumanizing, and deadly. Melody Hoffman suffered unspeakable trauma, 20 years of happiness, innocence, zest for life gone within the matter of hours. According to the state's case, Hoffman, who had recently broke up with Louisma, still had strong feelings for him. Meanwhile, Louisma, who allegedly involved in a long-term relationship with another woman who was also pregnant, prosecutors argued that the situation created a strain that may have led to Hoffman's murder. The evidence will show they terrorized and tortured her, confined her within the car, and then removed her from Morgan Creek, traveling back towards Marion to conduct their sadistic plan, Maybanks said. Prosecutors showed surveillance footage that captured Louisma and Van Patten purchasing machetes and gloves from a Walmart in southwest Cedar Rapids. The state alleges these items were later used in the assault on Hoffman. Maybanks outlined a timeline suggesting that Hoffman was first taken to Morgan Creek Park, where she was bound and beaten before being transferred to Lily Lake in Amana, where she was strangled with a paracord and her body was left on the shore. Maybanks claimed Hoffman may have been pregnant at the time of her death, though this has not been confirmed in court. The defense, the state has come up short. In her opening statement, Jill Ilman, Louis Ma's defense attorney, argued that the state's case relies heavily on circumstantial evidence and lacks any direct proof linking Louis Ma to Hoffman's death. The defense pointed out that while DNA evidence was found on the alleged murder weapon found in Louis Ma's car, none of it matched his own DNA. This case is not nearly as straightforward as the state says. The state has come up short. The state has not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that our client, McKinley Louisma, is guilty. The defense also emphasized that 3 different DNA profiles were found on the alleged murder weapon, including samples from Van Patten, Logan Kempton, and Hoffman, but none from Louisma. Kempton is accused of helping purchase knives and gloves on the night of the murder, but allegedly backed out of the killing. While the prosecution argued that Louisma's alleged involvement in the weapon purchase shows intent, the defense maintained that purchasing these items does not prove a coordinated plan to harm Hoffman. The defense contended that Louisma's presence in the footage alone does not establish his guilt and suggests that the state's evidence fails to provide clear and concise connection. This is one of the trials that is going on right now that we always try to cover these things. I'm going to play this video in a minute. Um, but before I do, I want to put on my copyright disclaimer. Hey, Miss Jean, good morning. Good morning. So we going over some cases, y'all. We going over some cases. But I had to, I had to put up my copyright disclaimer. It is, we're using this for news reporting and education. We're reporting on the news and what's going on in the world right now. So I had to put up my disclaimer, y'all. I had to put up my disclaimer. Child, why they always got so many ads? Ugh, I swear. I just got an ad for the thing that I'm using, y'all. That's funny.
Courthouse, where a Hiawatha man goes to trial for the kidnapping and murder of his old girlfriend. McKinley Louisma is accused of killing Melody Hoffman back in February and dumping her body in an Iowa County pond. Iowa's News Now reporter Nick El-Haj live in studio tonight with a recap of that day in court.
Mitch, prosecutors claim that McKinley Louisma and his alleged accomplice, Dakota Van Patten, kidnapped, terrorized, and strangled Melody Hoffman to death the night of February 17th before dumping her body at Lily Lake in Amana. But Louisma's defense argues all the evidence is circumstantial.
I'm actually at Lily Lake in Amana, and it looks like a dead body here. Okay. It's a woman, and she's just wearing underwear. Is she breathing? It does not look like it. There are all kinds of marks on her back, like flashes.
The courtroom falling silent as jurors heard the 911 call from Amy Robas, who took the stand to describe the moment she found Melody Hoffman's body by Lily Lake in Amana.
She had the most beautiful, pale, perfect skin, glorious curls. Her hands were curled in a way that they shouldn't have been.
Jurors also saw surveillance video showing Louisma and Van Patten buying machetes and gloves hours before Hoffman disappeared, with prosecutors painting Louisma as a man torn between his relationship with Hoffman, who may have been pregnant at the time, and his longtime partner, who was also pregnant at the time, claiming the tension was motive for murder.
The evidence in this case will show that the defendant's actions, along with his accomplice, Dakota Van Patten, were depraved. They kidnapped, killed, and mutilated Melody Hoffman in a manner that can be described as nothing less than dehumanizing. She endured unspeakable trauma. 20 years of happiness, innocence, and zest for life gone within a matter of hours.
But the defense says Louisma's presence doesn't prove his guilt, arguing the state's case relies heavily on circumstantial evidence. And while the murder weapon was found in Louisma's vehicle, there were 3 sets of DNA found, including Van Patten's and the victim's, but Louisma's wasn't. And the 3rd set belongs to Logan Kimpton, who's accused of helping buy the weapons.
This case, ladies and gentlemen, is not nearly as straightforward as the state would lead you to. But there was no plan, ladies and gentlemen. There was no agreement. They were not acting in concert. The state has come up short. That the state has not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that our client, that McKinley Louisma, is guilty.
Court picks back up tomorrow morning. If convicted, McKinley Louisma faces life without parole. Kimpton is scheduled to go to trial next month on his charges. Van Patten's trial is scheduled for March. Reporting live in studio, Nick El-Haj, Iowa's News Now.
Nick, almost 50 years since a pair of spacecraft left Earth to explore our solar system's
Yeah, I almost forgot to unmute myself. I'm over here just a talking. I'm just a talking now. Sometimes I be forgetting to unmute myself. So, with this situation, you know, we have, quite a bit going on, with the Iowa versus McKinley Louisma. We're going to look at some of the, one day ago. This is day 3 of the trial so far. So they are right now doing the trial on this. And I'm trying to go over some of the evidence so we can see some of it. And we're going to play this. This is some of the evidence they have.
Fourth day of testimony in the McKinley Louisma murder trial in Lynn County. He's accused of kidnapping and killing Melody Hoffman back in February and dumping her body near the Amana Lily Lake in Iowa County. Iowa's News Now reporter Nick Elhaj has been covering the trial for this weekend. He recaps the day in court tonight.
Prosecutors are building their case piece by piece, and Thursday jurors saw disturbing photos, some discovered in the recently deleted folder of Louisma's and co-defendant Dakota Van Patten's phones, including a selfie where Van Patten is wearing the victim's eyeglasses, which were later found in his home. Also Thursday in court, prosecutors presenting evidence from Hoffman's Life 360 app, which puts her in the same location as Louisma the night of the murder, showing a clearer timeline of her final moments. But one pattern we are seeing with the evidence in court this week is that Louisma's DNA hasn't been found on any of it.
What do we see there?
Recently deleted. In some shape or form, the phone saved this item. This is a machete. I believe you can purchase at Walmart. This is a photo of defendant Van Patten. It's a selfie, it appears to be, and he's wearing what appears to be Melody's glasses. The first picture is of a female that has duct tape over her mouth with hair wrapped inside of the duct tape around her mouth, and then a bloody nose, and she appears to be crying.
From Mr. Louisma's vehicle, was there evidence of duct tape that had hair in it?
Yes.
In this case, is your opinion this is consistent with a photo of Melody Hoffman?
Yes.
Prosecutors Thursday afternoon presenting testimony from a forensic DNA analyst, confirming the hairs found on that piece of duct tape recovered from the trunk of Louisma's car did belong to Melody Hoffman. Investigators also discovered at Van Patten's home a spool of cord matching the color of a piece of cord found in Louisma's trunk. Detectives testifying they believe this cord was used to strangle Hoffman, and that DNA analyst Thursday confirming Hoffman's DNA was found on the cord. In Cedar Rapids, Nick Elhaj, Iowa's News Now.
The Iowa Board of Regents meeting today to continue its review of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at Iowa's 3 public universities. New Iowa law that we've talked about quite a bit bans those programs. Doesn't take effect until July, but the Board of Regents says all 3 of the universities, Iowa, Iowa State, UNI, have already gotten rid of their DEI programs, and now they're working to restructure programs to still make sure students have access to the resources they need, making sure they're in compliance with the new law and those federal and state accreditation laws. Regent David Barker says he sees all of this as just the first step.
Just this semester, there were several examples of university administrative offices that are not being eliminated or restructured that promoted DEI. Promotion of these ideas has been so widespread in university administration that achieving compliance will take a great deal of effort, and our presidents need to strongly communicate that they expect our universities to follow the spirit of the law, not find ways around it.
Now, Barker didn't elaborate on what DEI action he says are still being promoted on campus. He did add, though, if universities do not take the law seriously and comply fully, he thinks we'll see even more legislation in the 2025 legislative session. The report's authors say they'll make those reviews of the university's compliance an annual thing for the legislature and the governor. Still waiting for those winter temps to really make themselves at home in eastern Iowa, and as they do, and even on some of those cooler mornings, you're going to be using more heat, more natural gas in your home. So Alliant Energy is starting to share some safety tips as we get into those winter months. A lot of warning signs that could maybe show a potential gas leak, like the smell of rotting eggs, maybe a hissing sound near an appliance that uses natural gas. Alliant officials say there are a lot of things you can do to make sure that doesn't happen.
There's a few things, obviously making sure your furnace is operating as efficiently as possible. So that might be making sure the filters are changed, doing annual tune-ups or something like that, making sure all your windows.
All right, so that's some of the, stuff that they have so far on that case. Let's see if they have anything else. And then we're going to go over another one. So far, that's what. Okay, here we go. This right here gives us some new information. All right, so we're going to look at this tab instead. Okay. Also, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day so far. I'm going to, Lord, I'm getting all kind of pop-ups, y'all, ain't I? Okay, Cedar Rapids. What happened to Melody Hoffman on February 17th was depraved, dehumanizing, and defiles all reason. As she was kidnapped, tortured, and killed by her boyfriend, McKinley Lewisma, who had been just broken off their relationship in January, a prosecutor said in his opening statement Monday. Lynn County Attorney Nick Maybanks said the 20-year-old woman had a mind of a 14-year-old girl because she had an intellectual disability. She had become involved in a fatal relationship with McKinley Lewisma, 23, of Hithawa. Hoffman still lived with her mother and didn't have any friends. Maybanks said she was overly trusting and easily manipulated and controlled because of her lack of experience with others. She wanted attention from men and wanted a boyfriend when she met Lewisma. Lewisma broke up with Hoffman in January of 2024 because he got back together with his long-term girlfriend who was pregnant. Hoffman took the breakup hard because Lewisma was her first boyfriend and also had a secret. Maybanks said Lewisma is on trial this week in Lynn County District Court for first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit forcible felony. He is accused of kidnapping and killing Melody Hoffman, 20, of Marion. Two others, Dakota Van Patten and Logan Kempton, are also charged in the slaying. Prosecution. The three men terrorized and tortured the Marion woman. Maybanks, in his opening statement, said Lewisma knew on February 17th that Hoffman would still be willing to get into the car with him and Van Patten. Megan Hoffman, Melody's mother, knew her daughter had left that night around 11:42 p.m. because she had a surveillance camera at home. She sent Melody a message to come back, but Melody never returned. Maybanks said video surveillance phone and other electronic data and DNA will show where they traveled and what happened to Hoffman that night. Megan Hoffman, who was tracking her daughter's location that night, could see she was at Morgan Creek Park, west of Cedar Rapids. Maybanks said that night turned into depravity at the park and Hoffman was beaten. Lewisma and Van Patten used a handle of a machete and struck her in the face. They terrorized and tortured her. They bound her hands and legs with duct tape and then went to a lily pond in Amana. The men strangled her with a paracord, stabbed her in the back, and slashed and mutilated her body, Maybanks said. They tried to stage it as if she had been attacked, stripped of her clothing, and left at the pond. However, Lewisma left behind a part of why this happened, Maybanks said. The possible motive: Hoffman was either pregnant or had been before her death. Maybanks said investigators found evidence of the kidnapping and torture in Lewisma's car: a paracord, knife with blood on it, and machetes. Lewisma admitted to police that he handled those items. They had also been handled by Van Patten. Defense Lewisma's DNA was not found on items used in the murder. Jill Emerman, Lewisma's lawyer, in her opening said Lewisma was at Morgan Creek Park and the Lily Pond that night, and he was there when Hoffman was beaten and died. However, this case isn't as straightforward as the state leads you to believe, she said. Lewisma had no plan or agreement with Van Patten, and they weren't acting together. Emerman said Lewisma didn't strangle her or cut her. He didn't beat her and he didn't kill her. None of the DNA found on those items in Lewisma's car matched his DNA. Immerman said the DNA matched Hoffman, Kipton, and Van Patten. After hearing all evidence, you will determine the state has come up short. Amy Rosbach testified Monday that she was at the Lily Pond on February 18th, which we've heard this part about her. Witnesses testify that Kempton Van Patten told them of the murder. A Lynn County Sheriff's detective identified video surveillance of Lewisma, Van Patten, and Kempton in Walmart earlier that night of February 17th, buying machetes and rubber gloves. Lewisma was paying for the items along with flavored water and cookies. Trevor West of Hithawa testified he knew Lewisma as Ken and met him through his mother. They weren't friends, but Lewisma would give him rides to work. West said Lewisma and his girlfriend lived in Wise's mother and Kempton with his cousin. Lewisma gave Wise a ride home from work about 10:58 p.m. on February 17th. Van Patten was with Louisma. The next day, Wise said Louisma came to his house and told him if someone asked about his whereabouts, tell them he was with him all night playing video games. Brandon Monsoon, 20, of Cedar Rapids, testified that Kempton on February 17th told him and 2 others that he was involved in a plan to murder someone with Louisma and Van Patten. Kempton said it was going to happen that night. Monsoon said he didn't know whether Kempton was joking or not. He had been known to joke about stuff like that in the past. Taya Meyer, 20, of Marion, testified Van Patten came to her home on February 17th. He said he needed to talk to her, and he seemed to have a weird type of vibe, she said. He told her he had killed Hoffman and said Louisma also was involved. Van Patten wouldn't tell her why they did it, only that it had to be done, Meyer said. Meyer said, testified that she was scared and told him to leave. She didn't want to be a part of it. Meyer said that she wanted to call the police, but she didn't know what Van Patten would do. So that's, some of the testimony from some of the other people in this case. They literally went into Walmart, y'all, and got the stuff. Ciao, ciao, ciao. We're gonna go over here. Oh. Let's see if we can find find some more evidence for us to look at, y'all. Some more video evidence. It is possible with her. It is very possible that, in my opinion, it's very possible that she could have claimed she was pregnant. And so, therefore, that's why they wanted to take her out or whatnot. We're going to look at this video over here and see what it says. Hopefully, it gives us some more, information.
Cologuard.
Cologuard.
Screen for colon cancer.
At home, like you want.
You the man.
Maybe I need to refresh this page. Let's refresh the page. There we go.
Of killing his girlfriend 2 years ago is in the final.
Bye, honey.
Morning breath, huh?
Dr. Garcia?
Stretch in court this morning. In the summer of 2022, Yasmin Marquez was found murdered in Sandoval County.
That's a whole different story, y'all. But I'm trying to find videos, more evidence of the situation with that. But in the Louisma trial, let's see. They are on day 5 and whatnot of the situation. I was trying to find more information for us. Let's see. That started 3 days ago. The trial started 3 days ago. I was seeing if they had any more. All right, so that's what we know so far on that one. That is one we're going to be covering. So she was special needs in a way. She had learning disabilities, and she lived with her mother. Not sure if he also had learning disabilities or whatnot. And, but they have stated that she herself had learning disabilities and that, they found her in the lake pretty much. I don't know if we'll ever find out exactly like why. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we do know the facts are right now that they took her. She went to the park, willingly. She went with them willingly because she thought she was still in love with the guy, right? They hit her in the back of the head. They, you know, bound her, and then, you know, they're showing that they tied her hands up and all this other stuff, and then stabbed her and left her, you know, um, by the thing. It said the judge ruled that Facebook messages exchanged between Hoffman and Louisma were relevant to show Hoffman's state of mind leading up to her death. In one conversation, Hoffman hinted she was aware Louisma had been in a relationship with another woman named Nakaya Sobavita. I don't even want to be around you because you do too much, reads a message from Hoffman on January 27th. She then blocked Louisma on Facebook. Other evidence added herring details to what we know about Hoffman's last moments alive. Sergeant Thomas Patterson presented a photograph found on Louisma's phone that deciphers Hoffman bound, the duct tape sealing her mouth, hair tangled in adhesive, and blood on her face. She appears to be crying, Peterson testified. Another photo on the phone of Louisma's co-defendant, Dakota Van Patten, appears to show Van Patten wearing Hoffman's clear frame glasses. Those same glasses would later be found in a search of Patten's home. DNA and digital footprints, the evidence mounts. Forensic evidence became a central narrative on day 4 of testimony, with Carly Schneider, a criminalist of the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, providing an account of DNA findings. Hoffman's DNA appeared on numerous items: duct tape, gloves, a machete, and paracord, all key evidence linking her to the violent end. Schneider's testimony revealed complex DNA mixtures on gloves, knives, and machete, each carrying traces of multiple individuals, including Van Patten's, Hoffman's, and Logan Kempton's, and another co-defendant in this case, accused of helping purchase the weapons before allegedly backing out of the murder. However, conspicuously absent was Louisman's DNA. A notable discovery involved a pair of Ozark Trail gloves found in Hoffman's car. The exterior carried Hoffman's DNA, while the interior included a mixture, suggesting at least 3 individuals, one of whom matched Van Patten's DNA. Digital footprinting also outlined a timeline of Hoffman's final night. Sergeant Patterson mapped out precise GPS trail beginning with Hoffman's Life 360 app, according a round trip from Cherry Hill Park to Morgan Creek Park, where she was allegedly first assaulted. Hoffman's heart rate data spiked and then stopped around midnight, suggests moments of intense stress and potentially her final breaths. Hoffman's body would eventually be found at Lily Lake in Amana, Iowa. A forensic puzzle. Among the many items analyzed, the green paracord found in Hoffman's trunk emerged as significant. The DNA profile developed from the knot area and adjacent frayed end of the paracord indicated a mixture of 2 individuals, Schneider said, identifying Hoffman as the primary contributor, but unable to pinpoint the secondary DNA. Detectives alleged the cord was used to strangle Hoffman and might have also been used to bind her. Investigators found at Van Patten's home a spool of cord matching the color of the bloody piece of cord found in Louisma's trunk. Dashcam footage from Marion police officer Aaron Stark added another layer to the timeline. At approximately 1:17 a.m. on February 18th, Officer Stark's patrol vehicle passed Louisma's car in the close proximity to Hoffman's residence. Another item of interest was a Snapchat photo on Van Patten's phone. Written in big text on the photo was 5917, a number matching Hoffman's phone's passcode. So that's what we have on that case so far. That's what we have on that case so far. Um, And then we have a few more cases we're going to go over, and we're going to keep those in our thought processes as these trials go on. Um, let me make sure that I add to. Um, do, 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 do. We're going to screen share our next case. Our next case is the Brian Kohlberg case, right? This one is something that we're working on. I have to make sure I knock out the other one so we don't accidentally go back to it. I have so many things open on my stuff, y'all. Okay, this is the Brian Kohlberg case. Okay. The latest on the Idaho student murders. What we've learned from court documents in the Idaho student murders case. Court documents including a probable cause order in the state case against Brian Kohlberg, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students, were publicly released on Thursday. Here's what they've revealed so far. One of the surviving roommates of the 4 students told investigators she heard crying in the house the morning of the murders. According to the probable cause affidavit, the student, identified by law enforcement as DM, also said she heard a voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," and then saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her, according to the affidavit. Trash recovered from the Kohlberg family residence by Pennsylvania law enforcement and sent to the Idaho State Lab for DNA testing was used to help investigators narrow down Kohlberg as the suspect. According to court documents, on December the 28th, the Idaho lab reported that the DNA profile obtained from the trash matched a tan leather knife sheath found laying on the bed of one of the victims. Phone records indicate Kohlberg's phone was near the victim's residence at least 12 times between June 2022 to the present day. Phone records also indicate his phone was near the murder scene hours before the students were killed, according to court documents. Kohlberg applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in Washington in the fall of 2022, according to court documents, citing police records. Kohlberg received a new license plate for his white Hyundai Elantra 5 days after the mid-November murders. Washington state license records and court documents revealed Kohlberg applied for a police internship in the fall of 2022, according to court documents. University of Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohlberg applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in Washington in the fall of 2022. Court documents citing police records reveal, pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohlberg's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics, according to the affidavit made public available Thursday. These records also show Kohlberg wrote an essay when he applied for the internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohlberg wrote in his essay he had an interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Suspect's phone traced to area near crime scene hours after murders. Phone records indicate Idaho student killing suspect Brian Kohlberg's phone was near the quadruple murder scene between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. local time. Hours after the students were slain, court documents released Thursday revealed. Law enforcement review of the records indicate his phone left his residency in Pullman, Washington at approximately 9 a.m. and traveled to Moscow, Indiana, according to an affidavit. Kohlberg's phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. Cell phone records show the same phone traveling back to the area of the Kohlberg residence and arriving to the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. Suspect in the Idaho student killings has initially appearance in court. University of Idaho murders. Brian Kohlberg smiled at his public defender when walked into the courtroom for his initial appearance Thursday morning. He did not appear to make eye contact with anyone else throughout the entire proceedings, including family members of the victims who were crying in the first row. Steve Goncalves, the father of Kaylee Goncalves, one of the 4 slain students, was with his wife and other relatives in the front row, according to the CNN team in the courtroom, adding that the family members were seen staring at Kohlberg through the hearing. A no contact order for the murder victims' family members and the surviving roommates for 2 years was requested by the prosecutor and upheld by the judge. After Kohlberg's court-appointed attorney and Sherry Taylor requested a review of bail, and prosecutor Bill Thompson argued that no bail should be upheld, the magistrate judge presiding over the case upheld no bail for the alleged murderer. Suspect in the Idaho student murder case has preliminary hearing scheduled for January the 12th. Suspect's phone was used at least a dozen times near Idaho students' residency since June. Okay, then we're going to switch over. Oh, surviving Idaho roommate says she saw a man dressed in black clothing and mask inside their home. This is the home right here. This was the site of the quadruple murder on January 3rd in Moscow, Idaho. One of the surviving roommates of the 4 slain University of Idaho students told investigators she heard crying in the house. This is one of the things. She said the male walked towards the backsliding glass door, that the person was not very muscular but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The man walked towards the backsliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. According to the documents, adding the roommate did not recognize the man. The affidavit said that the statements by surviving witnesses and other evidence led investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. local time, 7 a.m. and 7:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A Washington State University officer located at 2015 white Hyundai Elantra registered to suspect Brian Kohlberg in an apartment complex parking lot, and officials were able to zero in on him because his driver's license information and photograph were consistent with the roommate's description. We already know that about them going through the trash. We know he got the license plate 5 days after the Idaho killings. That's his car as the police were stopping. That's his Elantra. And it was stabbings, y'all. It says right here, Brian Kohlberg, the suspect in the stabbing deaths of 4 Idaho University students, received a new license plate for his white Honda Elantra 5 days after the mid-November murders. Washington State license recording and courthouse documents reveal. We still don't know about the suspect. This is before they found the suspect, but these are the victims of the Idaho stabbing victims that we have. Victims Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapin, Zena Kernodle, and Madison Mogan. These are the victims right here. It says authorities have yet to release key details of whether such as the suspect knew the victims, to what his alleged motive might be, and what finally prompted his arrest. The probable cause affidavit, the legal documents used to justify Kohlberg's arrest and obtain a warrant, remain sealed until he is returned to Idaho, where he faces 4 counts of first-degree murder as well as felony burglary charges per Lathrop County, Idaho prosecutors. Here are a few key details that remain unknown. The suspect's relationship to the victims. Authorities have not said publicly whether Kohlberg knew any of the victims. He lived in the area, police indicated. He was a PhD student in the criminal justice program at Washington State University campus in Pullman, about a 15-minute drive west of Moscow. The suspect's alleged motives. Investigators also have yet to give indication of why Kohlberg allegedly carried out the stabbings. In days since his arrest, there has been a heavy focus. Kohlberg's study of criminal justice and criminology at the Washington State University student a detail a former senior FBI profiler called very interesting. We have other cases where offenders have been in the areas of students' study that more or less prepared them to commit a crime. Mary Ellen O'Toole told CNN on Sunday, if he is guilty, Kohlberg's area of study is not a result or a cause and effect, she stressed. Nothing studying the criminal mind did not cause him to do this. How the suspect stayed free for 7 weeks. It's also unclear why Kohlberg wasn't arrested until more than 6 weeks after the victims were found. Police would not reveal when Kohlberg came onto law enforcement's radar, saying details in the case will be released in time. Kohlberg went home to Pennsylvania for the holidays, public defender Jason Labar told CNN on Saturday, adding the suspect and his father, who accompanied his son on the cross-country drive around December 17th. The suspect drove the car to his parents' house, according to another law enforcement source, who told CNN, sometime right before Christmas, we were zeroing in on him being in or going to Pennsylvania. An FBI surveillance team from the Philadelphia field office has been tracking him for 4 days in the area where he was arrested, according to law enforcement sources briefed on the investigation. Let's see. Here's how the authorities located the Idaho student murder suspect. Investigators focused on Brian Kohlberg as a suspect in the killing of the Ford University of Idaho students after tracing ownership of a white Hyundai Elantra, which he had been seen in the area of the November killings, according to 2 law enforcement sources briefed on the investigation. His DNA was also matched to genetic material covered at the home where the students were killed, the sources said. The suspect recently finished his first semester as a PhD student in criminal justice program at Washington State University campus in Pullman, about a 15-minute west drive of Moscow. He drove home to Pennsylvania for the holidays, according to his father. According to the Monroe County Chief Police Defender, Jason Labar, the father and son arrived around December 17th. The white Elantra authorities have been looking for in connection with the killings was found at Kohlberg's parents' house, Labar said. Let's see if we can find any new evidence on this other one that I was looking at. Okay, let's knock that one off right quick. All right. I think, let's see if we can find any different evidence. Okay, let me pause this so we don't miss anything. Share this tab instead.
Accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022, he appeared before a judge today to determine whether he is eligible for the death penalty.
His defense lawyers centered their argument around Idaho's unique option for capital punishment, the firing squad. So Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Lawyers for a man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students pressed a judge to take the death penalty off the table on Thursday, arguing it is cruel and unusual punishment.
We're also
I'm gonna need you to go to Happy Holler Outdoors. Get us a new skillet.
That's a 2-day ride.
You best get on.
asking the court to strike the death penalty as a violation of the Equal Protection Clause.
Prosecutors say Brian Kohlberger murdered Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Ethan Chapin 2 years ago, stabbing them to death in the middle of the night in a house just off campus. Police report they found a K-bar knife sheath with his DNA on it at the scene, and that a car matching his was recorded near the murder scene. One of the victim's parents told reporters that at times Kohlberger was so close to the house that his phone was picked up by their Wi-Fi. But defense attorneys weren't arguing against the evidence, instead making a case against the legality of capital punishment, specifically targeting Idaho's approval of firing squads as an option.
The firing squad ended up on the books because of the difficulty obtaining the drugs to kill somebody.
You don't get to, at the beginning, short circuit the whole thing and say death is off the table because the current method is unconstitutional.
In their filing seeking the death penalty, prosecutors allege the former PhD student has exhibited a propensity to commit murder, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society. Kohlberger's trial is expected to begin next year.
All right, so that's what we know from
And let's take a look back at key moments from the state. Closing argument. This happened yesterday.
All right, so that's what we know so far from.
Remember Brian Koberger, the man accused of killing? Killing 4 University of Idaho students in 20.
Oh yeah, they're we're gonna try to find more information on Brian Kohlberg, y'all. Let me take this off here. Oh, y'all, I got so many pop-ups popping up. I gotta get these pop-ups off here. All right, so this is, I don't think we've read this yet. I think I read that one. So let me knock this one off so I don't accidentally reread the same thing, y'all. I don't want to accidentally read the same thing.
Dad told the girls if they weren't on their best behavior, this year they'd get. And with Cole in the family, Mom and Dad used Chewy to get everything delivered in time for the holidays. At prices everyone feels jolly about. For low prices and fast shipping. For holidays with pets, there's Chewy.
You were sitting right behind his family in the courtroom, I understand. What was their reaction?
Very emotional, stunned. They walked in. His mother was just distraught. She was sitting there, and when he walked in, he looked at his family, but he looked directly at his father, and he acknowledged him seriously, but his head was acknowledging him. He sat with his public defender, the chief public defender, turned around a second time, beeline for his father, looked at him, and then the third time he looked and turned around, he scanned his family and just sort of had a very faint smile. But when the proceedings started, the president judge really started to question him. Is this voluntary? Have you been forced? Have you been coerced? She really wanted to make sure it was freely and voluntarily because he has rights in Pennsylvania and he can assert those. But he said it was, and she said, then you will be returned to Idaho to face homicide charges for murder. His mother then just sort of fell into the shoulder of her daughter. You couldn't hear her, but she was crying so hard. The court brings over Kleenex because at this point the whole family is very emotional, and the whole family, they're taking the Kleenex. But after that, then he signed the extradition papers, and then it was almost official. But one thing that the defense attorney wanted to put on the record, which was very interesting, that the chief public defender of a county in Idaho had filed under seal a motion in Idaho that his 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment should be preserved. He should not be interrogated. He should not be searched. There should not be seizure to protect him. And he was making the court aware of this, especially for that journey from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania back to Idaho.
So, yeah, that's what we know so far on that one. I'm going to try to go over here to the other news article that I found on this. I'm going to share this tab instead. We read all of that one from CNN. So we're going to read this one over here. Okay, that's him with his people. That's when he came into court. We're going to look at the photos. Okay, let's scroll down here. Boise, Idaho. Attorneys for a man accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death last year want cameras banned from the courtroom, contending that the news coverage of the criminal proceedings has violated a judge's orders and threatens his right to a fair trial. Brian Kohlberg is charged with 4 counts of murder in connection with the deaths at a rental house near the university campus in Moscow, Idaho, last November. A judge entered a not guilty plea on Kohlberg's behalf earlier this year. Lathrop County Prosecutor Bill Thompson has said he intended to seek the death penalty, and this case is scheduled for trial this fall, although it could be postponed. Kohlberg was a graduate student studying criminology at Washington State University. And the unusual details of this case have drawn widespread interest. Second District Judge heard arguments over the camera access Wednesday afternoon. Kohlberg's defense attorney Jay Longston said that the courtroom photos and videos have been misused, dehumanizing Kohlberg and risking his rights to a fair trial. He said that the defense team is also concerned that the videos and photos could expose the private notes and recordings on the defense table, potentially revealing information that is protected under attorney-client privilege laws. The court, I think, understands our concern about turning this into a spectacle, Longdon said, and allowing photos and videos turns it into more of a TV show drama than a court proceeding. He acknowledged the news outlets and others would likely use older court images if cameras were banned, but said that would limit the novelty of the case. I don't think we can underestimate the power of novelty. Removing this almost sideshow from what's being put there, we think would be important to try to take away the sensationalism of the case and hopefully reduce it to just the words of a page. Wendy Olson, the attorney representing a coalition of news media groups covering the case, including the Associated Press, said that the news organizations have carefully followed the judge's orders about photos and videos in the courtroom. Video and photo coverage of the court proceedings dramatically increased public access and understanding about the case, she said. And Idaho's rules about how cameras can be used in court already include tools to protect the rights to a fair trial. But Second District Judge John Judge appeared skeptical of the claim. The criminal case isn't entertaining, it's a tragedy, he said. The pool camera operators are not the problem, he said, but the way the images are used by others is troubling. It's where, they're talking about here, whether they're going to show stuff, and evidence and whatnot, and all that. But basically what we know about him is that there were 4 people who passed away, and this is going to trial right now. And so Law and Crime TV is actually covering this case right now. If y'all want to see that, good morning, happy life. I hope you're having a glorious morning. So that's some of the cases so far we're going to be covering is the Brian Kohlberg, right? The other one that I just showed. So I'm fixing to go over to the other one that we're doing. We know about so far what we know about the Brian Kohlberg case. And I'm just showing y'all right now the cases we're going to be going over in as things go down. So I'm going to share this tab instead. This is the third case I was talking about, and y'all can tell me which one y'all think you are more interested in once we go over them. If you want to zero in on a specific case, let me know. This is the Laken Riley murder. Jose Ibarra trial set for November as judge rules on pretrial motion. The brief. Jose Ibarra is set to be tried next month in Athens for the murder of Laken Riley, a nursing student at the University of Georgia. The defense seeks to include from the trial 2 cell phones seized during the investigation, with a hearing on this and DNA evidence scheduled for November 1st. A peeping Tom charge, which occurred the same day and close to the murder scene, will not be served from the case despite the defense's argument of potential jury prejudice. Judge Haggard has denied a defense's motion to move the trial from Athens, Clark County, stating extensive media coverage does not warrant a change of venue. Pre-trial motions will be heard on November the 12th, following by jury selection on November 13th, and the trial is scheduled to begin on November 18th with opening statements. Ibarra is charged with the murder and other crimes and February killings of Riley. A 10-count indictment accuses Ibarra of hitting the 22-year-old Augusta University College of Nursing student in the head, asphyxiating her, and pulling her clothing with the intent to SA her. Ibarra pled not guilty to the charges. Ibarra wants cell phones thrown out. Riley's body was found near Lake Herrick in February after she didn't return home from a morning run. Investigators say they were able to identify Ibarra as the potential suspect when they searched his brother's apartment where he lives. During the search, 2 of Jose Ibarra's cell phones were seized but were not searched until a later warrant was obtained. Ibarra was arrested that day on an outstanding warrant before being charged with Riley's murder. Ibarra's attorney again wants to suppress those cell phones from being introduced as evidence. In a motion granted by the Athens Clark County Superior Court Judge H. Patrick Haggard on Monday, the defense can seek to reopen evidence related to a previous motion to suppress heard on October the 11th. The documents do not reveal what evidence might lead to the cell phones being excluded. That, along with another hearing of DNA evidence, will be heard on November 1st. The DNA evidence was supposed to be a part of the aforementioned hearing in October, but lab results were not ready by that date. Peeping Tom severance denied for Ibarra. The judge also ruled this week denying Ibarra's motion to sever count 10, a Peeping Tom charge. The defense argued in October that the count did not have a direct impact to Riley's murder. The act was reported by another woman on the same day as the murder, about 300 yards from where her body was found. Attorney said the count would only serve to prejudice the jury. That's like in the that picture of the woman is the lady who passed away, the victim. Judge Haggard disagreed with their reasoning, believing that the prosecution can tie the incident to the murder, writing defendants' alleged crimes are inextricably intertwined, as he allegedly went to one apartment complex, failed to enter a woman's apartment, and then went to a nearby wooded area where students are often found jogging or otherwise exercising. Absent a more compelling argument, the court concludes that a jury can distinguish among all 10 alleged crimes, the judge added. Ibarra murder trial to stay in Athens. So we know that he's going to keep the trial within Athens. According to Georgia law, a change of venue is warranted only when publicity is factually incorrect, inflammatory, or creates a hostile environment. The judge ruled that the defendant did not provide evidence showing that any of those conditions had been met. The judge added that the change of venue would also not impact jurors' ability to remain objective. In addition to the upcoming DNA hearing, a pretrial motion hearing is scheduled for November the 12th, with jury selection beginning on November 13th. And Ibarra's trial is scheduled to begin with opening statements at 9 a.m. on November 18th. Okay, let's see. I also had something else pulled up for this. Let's see. Um, it says that right here. Let's show this tab. DA not seeking death penalty for accused Laken Riley killer Jose Ibarra. Athens, Georgia. The man accused of killing nursing student Laken Riley on the University of Georgia campus has pled not guilty to her murder. Jose Ibarra appears in court in Clark County on Friday to enter his plea. Following the plea, lawyers for the prosecutor and defense said they are both working on gathering information and will provide a status update in August. So some of these are old. The trial is set to begin this month, though. What happened to Laken Riley? Riley was brutally murdered during her morning run on February 22nd. Her body was found by police shortly after she was reported missing by a friend in a wooded area near Lake Henrik and UGA's intramural fields. Ibarra, originally from Venezuela, entered the country illegally in 2022 and was living in Athens. He was charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. An autopsy showed Riley died from blunt force trauma to the head. Arrest warrant outlines UGA murder. According to the warrants, Riley was killed between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on February the 22nd. The warrants say Ibarra physically prevented Riley from making or completing a 911 call and used an object to cause great bodily harm, disfiguring her skull. The warrants also indicate he dragged her from the intramural fields to a secluded area and concealed her death. It remains unknown why Riley was killed. Bond was denied to Ibarra during his first court appearance on February 24th. During the search for Riley's killer, Jose Ibarra's brother, 29-year-old Diego Ibarra, was also arrested. It was discovered that Diego Ibarra was in possession of a fraudulent green card. Laken Riley Act. Riley's death inspired the Laken Riley Act, which would require federal officials to apprehend and detain undocumented immigrants who commit crimes such as burglary, shoplifting, or larceny until these individuals are removed from the United States. The bill cleared the House in early March with the support of every Republican and 37 Democrats. However, it hasn't received as much support from Democrats in the upper chamber. We're going to watch some of these videos right quick that are on here so that we can get some more understanding. So when this trial starts going place, we'll understand what's going on. I'm going to have to redo the page, y'all. Sorry about that. Sometimes these videos, they'll pause up too much. I apologize for that because I want us to hear all the news we can use. Good morning, Beef Sector Podcast. How are you? Yeah, I just realized that. I may have to refresh this page. It says that this page specifically is like unresponsive, so I um may have to refresh this page, y'all. Let's see if I can reload this one and start sharing this one so I can reload that one. That one's not wanting to load, y'all. Sorry about that. We're gonna see if this one has some video. Sometimes I swear. Okay, now let me see about refinding that video so we can watch it because it was acting stupid, y'all. Okay, here we go. It's muted right now, so don't worry about it. We're gonna turn it up. Okay. So basically, on the Ibera case, hey D Misso, good morning. The Ibera case, we're gonna be waiting to see what happens from now. He was an illegal immigrant here illegally. Um, he had already been accused of being a peeping tom and did some other things, and now he is being looked into for the murder of Laken Riley, a nursing student, basically. Um, so we're gonna have to watch that and see what happens with that situation. I'm gonna share this tab instead. I don't think we've watched this one yet. The other one, I'm not trying to watch the entire pretrial hearing. Can y'all hear this? Can y'all hear the video? Because what it's showing for me is it's not showing, um, that it's not showing sound for some reason, even though it shows that there's sound. Can y'all hear everything okay? Or do I need to re-screen share? Because it may be that I need to refresh the screen share because a while ago of it acted up. I think I'm gonna redo the screen share, y'all. I think I'm gonna right quick, I'm going to switch that up. So let me go ahead and switch that up. Because it seems as if the sound isn't coming through from Hey Illuminati, Hey illuminated it and lighted it. Let me go ahead and switch over here, and then I'm gonna switch back and see if it brings up the sound better. We're gonna check it, y'all. We're gonna check it. Thank you for letting me know there's no sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off that screen share, add a new screen share, and see if that fixes it. So that's what I'm going to do right quick. I'm going to delete that screen share, right? I'm going to stop sharing right quick to try to refresh the screen share. I think that's what is messing with the sound, and I'm going to start a new one and see if that fixes it. Let me make sure that it's added to the screen right quick. Everything looks good on that. Let's see if it starts playing and sounds right.
Athens, Georgia, for the pretrial hearing in the murder of Laken Wright.
Hey, everybody, can y'all hear me now? Sorry about that, y'all. Basically, what had happened was, in retrospect, if you're still here, my internet just glitched. So if you can hear me, please put a 1 in the chat if you're still here, so I'll know if it's actually still live or it's showing it is for me and it's not. Because, or at least let me know, because my internet just went, my power glitched my internet. My power went completely out, y'all, for like 5 seconds, and I had to wait for it to come back. And I didn't know if it was going to end the stream or not, y'all. So let me read. Let's go back to where we was at, y'all. Let's go back to where we was at. Let me add to the scene. Thank you so much, Just Jess. I swear my power decided to glitch at the weirdest moment, y'all. So I had to re-screen share. Thank you, D-Ham Show. Thank y'all so much for letting me know, y'all. My power just went, wee! It glitched and it made my internet knock out. You know how when it resets your stuff? That's what it just did to me. So we're going to watch this information about the, this case right quick. Thank y'all so much for letting me know, because I so didn't know. All right, let's go. I'm going to restart from the beginning because I don't know how much we saw before my internet decided to go wee.
Turning our attention now to Athens, Georgia, for the pretrial hearing in the murder of Laken Riley case. A judge is hearing arguments today on the possible exclusion of DNA evidence against the defendant, Jose Ibarra. He is accused of killing nursing student Laken Riley on the campus of the University of Georgia back in February of just this year. Before we go back into court, I want to bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, who's on the ground today, covering today's action. Cody, always great to be on with you. Tell us, what is the latest in that courtroom today?
Well, good afternoon to you too, Judge Ashley. The first motion argued in court today was a motion to suppress cell phone data acquired from Jose Ibarra's 2 cell phones. Now, the police, once they detained Ibarra, took 2 cell phones from his house. The defense says that Sorry about that. The defense says that his phone was taken by police. Investigators attempted to search one of the phones without having a warrant, but the prosecution says that police searched those phones after an official warrant was obtained. Take a listen to some of those arguments, testimony, and the defense's response today on the stand.
With 1B7 being locked, could you have searched the phone without Celebrate Premium?
No.
Why not?
I couldn't get into the device without having some tool to guess the pattern lock to unlock the device. So there was no way to get into the specimen without using Celebrate Premium. There are other tools on the market, such as GrayKey, but we did not have an Android license for the GrayKey. So the only option I had was Celebrate Premium.
To this Rubin data, that is also could be the phone just talking to the tower, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that doesn't mean someone searched the phone, is that right?
Correct. No one could have searched this particular, if we're talking about 1B7, no one could have searched it because it was locked.
The phones were not kept safe, number one. they were tampered with. Number two, Agent Karate said that he tried to access the phone. He was caught in the act by the third eye intruder. It may be that he was only trying to put it in airplane mode, but the point of the matter is, without a warrant, they tried to enter Mr. Ibarra's phone. That is
Chevy Equinox EV starting at $34,995. Go EV without changing a thing. Chevrolet.
exactly what our case law prohibits them doing.
Now, Judge Ashley, the judge did not make a ruling on that motion to suppress that cell phone data. And actually, this hearing did just wrap up a few minutes ago. They argued for a little bit over some litigation about that crucial DNA evidence, the fingerprint found from Jose Ibarra on Laken Riley's cell phone and the DNA evidence found under Laken Riley's fingernails. The judge also did not make a ruling on whether that will be excluded. The defense had filed a motion to exclude that DNA evidence from the trial, but no decisions were officially made today in court.
Thank you so much to you, Cody, because this is all very important information. It determines what they can actually use in court to prove he did it according to the state. All right, thank you again. We want to get back into court now to bring you some of the arguments. The attorneys at this point are arguing over the cell phone evidence.
Anything else in the way of evidence?
Not in the way of evidence from the state. Nothing else from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay. Y'all want to do argument related to this now?
Yes, please. If we can, Your Honor. Who would you like to proceed first, Your Honor?
This was the state's original motion. They go, you go,
yes,
they go.
Well, yes, sir. This evidence that we presented today is in response to the defendant's amended motion to suppress, which was filed after our last hearing. And in that motion to suppress, the defense alleges that they had evidence that would contradict that the phone was not searched or that the phone was searched prior to the warrant. So let me say that the other way around. I apologize. The state's position is, and the evidence has shown, that while 1B7 and 1B8 were seized without a warrant, which we have already covered the last hearing, and I don't wish to cover unless the court wishes me to recover that.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. That those phones were not searched until a search warrant was obtained. And in fact, you've now heard, and you knew from last time, there were 2 search warrants, 3 total, but for each phone. 2 warrants for the phones. We are here today because the defense filed the amended motion saying that they had evidence that that's not true. And I think the evidence has been really clear in the hearing today that what happened to 1B7 is that Special Agent Karate tried to put it in airplane mode, couldn't. The phone was locked. He couldn't unlock it. He didn't search it. It was left with the GBI. Eventually, it made its way to UGA PD, where Agent Hipkiss picked it up, not in airplane mode, and in a Faraday bag. And then it had to be physically broken into by Cellubrite Premium. There's no way it is even possible, and the evidence is uncontroverted at this point, that agents, law enforcement officers, or anyone could search that phone prior to Judge Stevens signing that warrant on February 27th. It's clear from even the own Cellubrite reports that the defense made and put into evidence. Candace Hunter at the FBI was the only person who could open that phone, and she did so only after receiving that warrant from Judge Stevens in the manner in which has been described to you. I hear this complaint coming that they exceeded the scope of the warrant. Well, let me tell you who exceeded the scope of the warrant. The defense did. The first time Special Agent Hipkiss even saw data that predated what Judge Stevens allowed him to take is when the defense created those exhibits and gave it to him. He testified to this court, and you will, I'm sure, in camera review his seizure report. And his seizure report was set at the parameters in which Judge Stevens authorized him to search. And he was permitted to look at items which had no date on it to determine whether, in fact, they fell within the scope of the warrant. And if they did not fall within the scope of the warrant, he didn't tag them. If they did fall within the scope of the warrant, he tagged them. And tagging them really is just their way of saying he seized them. And they are in those reports that have been admitted to you as State's Exhibit 31. From the plain language of Judge Stevens' warrant, he allowed the FBI to download the entire phone. Not only does it make logical sense that that's the only way they could do it. So it would be like saying, I guess the defense is trying to tell this court, and I'd like to see some legal authority on it, that you can search the phone, but we're just not going to allow you to download it. Well, then you're back to what Special Agent Hipkiss said. Well, we're just going to have to physically go through the phone. And if you do that, then you're absolutely looking at everything in the phone. There is a tapestry of cases out there, and I'm happy to provide them to the court about this theory. And it's not a new theory. And I would say that defense's argument is rather novel. There's definitely no evidence that somebody got into that phone before it was cracked. So there's just no evidence to support that allegation. But what they're trying to tell this court is that, well, you're going to have to search the phone without unlocking it. There are cases out there when it comes to computer searches. And in Riley v. California, when we first started this cell phone journey a long time ago with the United States Supreme Court, they likened, and Judge Roberts likened cell phones to microcomputers. And with searching computers, and I think all the case law associated with the search of computers is very helpful here. And I guess my argument is two things. One, they didn't exceed the scope. Judge Stevens authorized exactly what happened here, and they processed the warrant in the way that he authorized it. And number two, if they think that the scope succeeded, we're not using anything that's not in Special Agent Hipkiss's reports, so it's moot, and there's no harm. And three, and finally, they're asking you to establish some kind of procedure where you're allowed to search a file cabinet for the tax returns from 2020, but you can't look at all of the other items in the file to see if they are in fact the tax return from 2020. I mean, if you want to just relate it to other objects or relate it to computers. And so for computers, and I have a few cases to cite for the court, and I can provide them in writing as well if the court wants a brief on it. But quite frankly, United States versus Kahani, Khani, at 502 Fed 3rd.
New 2025.
Basically what we have going on right now is that they're, deciding what evidence is going to be admissible in court, right? This trial will be coming up soon on what they're going to do to him. Good morning, Sophisticated Brat. Good morning. Have a good day, Ray. Hey, Miss Catherine, how are you doing this morning? I'm sorry that I may not have said hey as soon as you came in, or whatnot. But with this case, we're basically watching to see what's going to happen. All right. So all these cases, that's pretty much what's going on. There's new cases that are starting. We have that coming up. Also, I did go over, this is another case that will be coming up too. So, I'm just throwing the cases out there. And, underneath this video, when it goes to video later, right, I would like y'all to tell me which one you really want to focus on. Here's another one that's crazy, y'all.
Kentucky State Police is painting a disturbing picture. A Mount Olivet woman argues she was casting spells when a body believed to be Trudy Fields was found outside the home. A contractor says he began looking for Fields when she didn't answer the door. He followed drag marks in the grass to find multiple blood-stained items and a dismembered body. He adds he saw a pile of hair that he believed belonged to the homeowner. When troopers arrived at the home on Briarly Ridge Road, they say they removed a pot from inside the oven. Inside were human body parts. The gruesome news has shaken the small town.
Around here, you hear of certain people, you know, like domestic violence cases and stuff like that, but I've never heard of something so awful. And when I first heard about it, I was extremely shocked. Everyone was shocked. No one could believe that something like that happened this close.
The contractor told police he saw Fields and her daughter, 32-year-old Toralina Fields, a day earlier. He adds Toralina was being confrontational that day, and the two were the only ones at the house.
Trudy Fields' home is up this long driveway. There's a house across the street, but it's a pretty remote area. Kentucky State Police and family are at the property now.
And that's what I think that's why everyone was really shocked about it, because you don't hear about that in small towns like this. It's usually big cities.
KSP say Toralina was the only one at the house when they arrived. They used tear gas after she refused to leave the residence. She appeared to have blood on her face, hands, and clothing. Toralina is charged with obstructing governmental operations, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse.
I've experienced stuff like this myself, not, you know, as bad as this, but like domestic violence and stuff like that. And you just, from the outside, you don't see it because everybody keeps on a happy face and you just never know what's going on.
In Mount Olivet, Paige Barnes, Local 12 News.
In this case, this was the case of the Robertson County, Kentucky. A daughter is facing multiple charges after Kentucky State Police found a dismembered body believed to be the mom at the house. The man who called the police said he discovered it on Wednesday afternoon when he went over to do some property work. Kentucky State Police is painting a disturbing picture. A Mount Olive woman argued that she was casting spells when a body believed to be Trudy Fields was found outside the home. A contractor said he began looking for Fields when she didn't answer the door. He followed drag marks into the grass to find multiple blood-stained items and a dismembered body. He added he also saw a pile of hair he believed belonged to the homeowner. When troopers arrived at Briarly Ridge Road home, they said that they removed a pot from inside the oven. Inside the pot were human body parts. The gruesome news has shaken the small town. Around here, you hear certain people, domestic violence cases and stuff like that, but you never heard of something so awful. When I first heard about it, I was extremely shocked. Everyone was shocked. No one could believe that something like that could happen this close. The contractor told police that he saw Fields and her daughter, 32-year-old Toralina Fields, just a day earlier. He added that Toralina was being confrontational, and that day the two were the only ones at the house. Trudy Fields' home is up a long private driveway. There's a house across the street, but it's a pretty remote area. Kentucky State Police and family were at the property on Thursday evening. I think that's where everyone was really shocked about, because you don't hear about the small towns like this. It's usually the big cities. Toralina is charged with obstructing government operations, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. The supposed iller is she appeared to have blood on her face, hands, and clothes. I've experienced, Kentucky State Police said that the medical examiner will do an autopsy tomorrow. Toralina Fields is being held at the Bourbon County Regional Jail and has her first court appearance on Monday. We're going to hear about this one.
Kentucky State Police is painting a disturbing picture. A Mount Olivet woman argues.
I think that's the one we just watched, y'all. So basically, she basically cooked her mother in a pot. We went over this a couple weeks, it was like last week, I believe, that this is the one where the daughter is going through some things, she was on drugs. She had been in and out of jail, all kind of things. So I'm going to actually do a search right now. And let me see if I can find more on this case so we can go it of it. So I'm over here looking for more information for us. All right, let's go over here and switch to this tab instead.
Skating for over 45 years has taken a toll on my body. I take Cunol Turmeric because it helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Why Cunol? It has superior absorption compared to regular turmeric. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Murder case in Robertson County. Today, a grand jury formally charged 32-year-old Torlina Fields with killing her own mother, Trudy, at their Mount Olivet home.
Fields is also accused of dismembering Trudy's body. WCPO 9 News reporter Valerie Lyons spoke with the family for the first time since Fields' arrest.
Now, we want to warn you, though, some of the details in this case are graphic and may be difficult for you to hear.
Torlina Fields was supposed to be arraigned by video here at the Harrison County Justice Center Monday, but the judge dismissed the hearing because Fields had not been served her indictment. It includes 2 additional charges, including the murder of her 68-year-old mother and the torture and killing of her dog.
Literally unimaginable is unimaginable.
Olivia Brock is still struggling to comprehend. So is the rest of her family. Days later, they say the shock and grief weigh heavy.
It's one thing to find out your family member's been murdered, but I mean, it's a whole nother thing for the details.
And the details are gruesome. 68-year-old Trudy Fields murdered, dismembered, her body parts cooked inside her own stove. The person accused of doing the unimaginable, her own daughter, 32-year-old Torlina Fields.
I think somebody had lost control of their mind and had to have something this planned out, or Satanism, or had their brain washed.
Fields' family spoke with us for the first time since her arrest. They tell us Fields spent a few years in California working as an actress, but suffered a severe brain injury in a motorcycle crash a few months ago.
I guess wandering around Cali, didn't know her name, didn't know where she belonged.
The family says they only recently found out Fields returned home to live with her mother. The next time they heard anything about Fields was last week when she was arrested. Kentucky state troopers found her covered in blood inside the Mount Olivet home. They'd been called out by a handyman who discovered Trudy's body. That handyman told investigators he saw her alive one day earlier while Fields was yelling at them and, quote, casting spells.
Paint her nails and just do different stuff, you know, whatever witchcraft is. But I heard she was into it.
How do you say, I'm so sad and I want justice for my family member, but I'm so sad because is my other family member not okay? Where do we go?
A question they'll continue to struggle with. But as Fields faces 5 charges and a $1.5 million bond, this grieving family wants her to know.
We never stop loving her, no matter what, we don't disown people. No matter what you've done.
In Harrison County, Valerie Lyons, WCPO 9 News.
Holiday season? Well, before you send any money, you need to know the warning signs of a scam.
Skating for over 45 years has taken a toll on my body. I take Cunol Turmeric because it helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Why Cunol? It has superior absorption compared to regular turmeric.
to some viewers.
A dismembered body, drag marks in the grass, multiple body parts and organs in the home, and human body parts that appear to have been cooked. That was the horror Kentucky State Police saw as they entered a home on Briarly Bridge Way in Mount Olivet, Kentucky on Wednesday afternoon.
Around 12:26, I believe, we got a call from a subject in Robertson County stating there's a possible dead body in the backyard of a residence.
According to this KSP report, a man who was about to do work for property owner Trudy Fields made the call to 911. He told officers that he believed the body belonged to Trudy and that her daughter, Toralina Fields, was responsible for her death.
The caller added that he saw Trudy and her daughter just the day before and that Toralina was casting spells and being confrontational.
Units responded, found a dead female in the backyard. Tried to make contact with somebody at the house. The house was locked up.
Troopers also found a bloody mattress near the body, and on the back porch they saw more blood, a blood-stained stick, and another blood-stained mattress.
Ended up getting a search warrant for the residence. Our special response team responded to serve that search warrant due to the circumstances surrounding the body and unknown what's in the property in the house.
The report indicates Toralina Fields was the only person in the house when troopers entered and that she refused to leave. They say they had to use tear gas in order to take her into custody. In the house, police found more body parts and organs, as well as a stainless steel pot in the oven with body parts inside that was still warm to the touch when removed. In Mount Olivet, Marlena Lang, WCPO 9 News.
Thank you, Marlena. Toralina Fields is charged with obstructing governmental operations.
So in this situation, you know, it's crazy. She literally, you know, murdered her mom in the worst way possible. Put her in the oven, y'all. She was cooking her mama. You know, in my opinion, this lady, she was dealing with some stuff mentally. Mentally, she was dealing with. She was going a little crazy, y'all. You know, but I am gonna keep up with this and see if I can find her trial and see when it starts. See if we can find her trial. And see when it starts, because this is one I would like to keep up with, because this one's crazy in my opinion. I want to know what was going on in that household. That one was crazy in my opinion. We're gonna look at this other. I found some new info on that. So we're going to look into this. This one seems crazy, in my opinion, this entire thing. So let me share this tab right quick. I'm going to go back to my screen share, y'all. Where'd it go? There it is. And we're going to go over here to this one.
Daughter has been charged for it. Thanks for joining us at 5:30. I'm Mike Dardis.
And I'm Ashley Kirkland. But the suspect isn't at the center of the accusations. It's another family member. WLWT News 5's Ryan Hamrick was the only local reporter in court today as we learn new information about turmoil inside a family in the middle of a crisis.
Well, the hearing was to extend a protection order, but in the process, testimony about strange, unusual, bizarre behavior that shows chaos in the family going back years. In a Robertson County courtroom, TV testimony from Zoom boxes.
Raise your right hand and be sworn in.
But on this screen, a drama that rivals any Hollywood production.
Well, my mother was went through. And my brother had threatened to do so for years. He had to and my sister both, and it happened. So, well, that's what happened, Judge.
Telby Fields says her brother, Truett Fields, threatened to kill her and other family members.
And now I'm next, or my brothers, or whoever is possibly in this man's way.
Her mother, Trudy Fields, was murdered at their rural home. Her body dismembered. Parts were found cooking in the oven. Police say another daughter, Torlena Fields, was at the scene covered in blood, out of control, saying she was a witch. She's now charged in the murder of her mother.
Walk me through this. Do you believe, are you stating that you believe that your brother was involved in the murder?
Absolutely.
Truett Fields denied the accusation. He said he was in California at the time of the murder and remains there now. However, he told the judge his sister suspect had recently lived with him there.
I was working with my mom up till August 3rd trying to get Torlena help out here in California.
Other family members supported the protection order. Some recounted strange behavior from Truett over the years, hanging dead animals on fences, a dragon tattoo that he thought was turning him into a dragon, and more.
I stopped talking to him because he was getting too crazy into the cultish acting.
Now a family reunited in the same drama, playing out on courtroom TV. So after listening to this testimony, strange behavior over an hour, the judge in the end determined not to extend that protection order. Brian Hemrick, WLWT News 5.
So the family, y'all, the family's got more than just what's going on with the crazy daughter. She got a crazy son too, who that's just a little psycho. Family drama right there playing out on the inside that Kentucky home, y'all. They're saying that the brother also has done things, and so they tried to get a thing for him. That's a little crazy. Now, they haven't set, by what I see, the trial date yet on that. That just happened in October, on October 14th of 2024. So they haven't set that trial date yet. I am going to be keeping an eye on that trial, though. But it's crazy, isn't it, when the brother's also accused of being crazy as crap, y'all? So, that's just some of the cases that I've been looking over recently. Some of the information. Now, I might have to go back, obviously, and keep an eye on the trials and, pop us up. Also, I'm going to do some, things. November the 30th, we're having For the Love of Happy Life over there on Lemon's channel. Okay. And then I'm going to be a judge December the 14th on Miss Leo the Lioness's channel for her charcuterie board challenge. She already has her contestants, so I want y'all to join us on December the 14th for that. And November the 30th, we're going to go over there to Lemon, and we're going to be seeing what's going on with, For the Love of Happy Life. So we get to see Happy Life, do his dating show. Hey, Big Man. Hey, Big Man TV. So that's the thing. But yeah, some of these trials are crazy. Some of them are a little psycho. If you have a specific trial that you've been watching real close and you want us to cover it, go over the evidence together, maybe speak about it, when this video ends, you can leave it under the comment section so it's easier for me to see. I want to thank you all for coming out and showing out tonight. I have, I'm starting to get over my little cold. I'm very happy about that. I hope it continues to go this way. I'm going to go right now and see who's live. So, right now it's showing me Miss T Velocity is live. Grown Folks TV is live. Law and Crime Network is live. Miss Tracy's World is live. So that's who I see right now. I'm going to grab Miss T Velocity's link and drop it in the chat for those who want to go over there. So that people can Go up there if they so choose to. If you do not, you do not have to. It's up to you. I give you the news you can use and the people who's live right now. And see where this drama is going to go headed this weekend. We got the stuff between the Hood Table, YTC, Miss Tiva, Rick Reed and Tiva, Demetra and Tiva. So, there's a lot of drama going on. We're going to see what's going on with that. And then, we'll see what's happening this weekend. Big Man TV said that he will be live at 12. So keep an eye out for Big Man TV's live. Make sure you turn on your notifications. Go up there, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Big Man, I'm going to make sure. Let's see. I'm going to post your link to your channel right quick for those who are not subscribed to Big Man TV. He will be going live with his jump off. He does his jump off, his celebrity news. He does different things on his channel. Big Man TV does a lot. So that's Big Man TV's channel right there. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. And he's going to be live at 12. So everybody, I hope you have an amazing, blessed day today. I hope that nothing bad happens to you. I hope you have fun over this weekend. And I will see y'all Monday morning at 8:30. Now, I will be doing a members only live soon. So if you're not a member, become a member today. I'm going to drop the Discord for that very soon. Probably sometimes later this afternoon or something like that. Just so that everybody has it and I can get people start getting in there so we can do our movies and stuff like that together. I will set up specific days. We're going to be watching movies together, and on my members only lives, I'm looking into getting Jackbox TV so we can play games together, little fun, cutesy games to make us laugh and ha-ha and take our mind off this crazy world. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all the people who have already bought a membership with me. Thank you to everybody who's poured into me. Thank you everybody who shared me, liked, been here. All y'all, everybody. I thank everybody for all the support that you've done and showed me. You know what I'm saying? While I'm building this channel and doing the thing. I hope y'all have a blessed day and thank you for being here, my beautiful angels.
The TUPELO, I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO. I'm ripping my hood to the day that I go.
I'm from the west side, we don't need no introduction, this was the best ride. We all big boy rolling and holding, come take a test drive. Hilldale, Evergreen, Glenkirk, Outer Street, bending every corner on the west, and that's where I'll be. Sunroof back, Captain C banging down 1800, chunking up the deuce to my post slanging down on 1800. Show no love to the ladies that's training round on 1800, making time stand still, crystalline swinging down on 1800. Watching out for them knuckleheads that be stanging round on 1800. Big rims and low pros be blanging round on 1800. Better completely change the way you're thinking about round 1800. Really hate to see you boys get left slanking round 1800. Out of street got some history, just let Captain C lay it out. If I don't finish it all on this one, let the second verse break it out. Remember the blue apartments and OG standing back there by 60 deep. Bull walking, Charles Blue, a big Anthony Hughes and P.
I'm from the TUPELO, I'm reppin' my the TUPELO, I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO.